So what's going on, man? Jerrel
What's up?
Stoudemire. So first of all, I'd just like to thank you for coming. Man, I reached out to a lot of people to interview, and I got a lot of no's, a lot of like, all right, I'll get back to you, and never heard back from them.
Right.
But as soon as I reached out to you, man, you were open to the idea and actually showed up. So I definitely appreciate you for doing that. And I just wanted to hear some of your story. I kind of saw like some things you were posting on social media, so I knew you're like a pretty free thinker. So I kind of want to pick your brain a little bit. I know we grew up together, elementary, middle school, and part of high school, but I actually didn't like know a lot about you. So I just wanted to kind of know where'd you live, in Frostproof or Lake Wales? Where'd you grow up at?
Well, I was born Lake Wales Hospital, but we was living in Frostproof at the time in Pepper Tree apartments. And by the time I turned 2 or 3, we moved to Lake Wales. And that's why I did most of my growing up in that house, but in Frostproof. So my whole family is from Frostproof.
What's your whole family? I know you have older siblings, brothers, sisters.
Well, my grandma and all her sisters lived in Frostproof. You know, they all, most of them passed away now, but yeah, they lived in Frostproof, so the whole family tree was in Frostproof.
Oh, okay. And by your immediate family, you have older brothers or older sisters, or
Yeah,
how many of you is it?
I got my oldest brother, Jerrel Stoudemire. He passed away. After him is Amar'e Stoudemire. Then it's Calvin. Then it's me, and then I got 2 more sisters from my dad, and 1 from my mom. So all these kids is my dad's kids, except for 1 sister and 1 brother. My mom had 3 kids, and then my dad had 8.
Oh, okay. That's a big family.
Yeah.
So how was that? Did you guys all grow up in the same house together, or?
Well, while my dad was living, we all lived together. Me, Hazel, Mari, Calvin, and Aquacia.
Oh, okay. So your dad passed away?
Yeah, he passed away when I was 6. Calvin was 4, Mari was 12. You know, and Hazel was, I think, about 16, 17. But we all lived together at that point, but when he died, we said we split up.
Separated?
Yeah, his mom, that he went back with his mom, and she was a different kind of person, so he couldn't stay with her for long, so he had to move with a whole bunch of different people. Me, my little brother Calvin, and Quasi, we stayed with my mom, and we grew up.
So how was that? I mean, I know there was like an adjustment, like you guys had to move to like a smaller house to adjust, or
No, I mean, we stayed in the same house. We stayed in the same house, which made it a little harder, you know what I'm saying? Because all the memory, like me as a kid, I looked up to my dad, I looked up to my 2 older brothers, and so when he died, I kind of lost everybody. I had my little brother, which was just a little brother. He was kind of a mama's boy, and my sister obviously is a girl. So I mean, when my dad or my 2 older brothers leave the house, I'm following. You know, I remember that.
Yeah.
But then when my dad died, it was just everybody was gone.
So are you the youngest?
I'm old. I'm the second to the youngest of my dad's kids. I was the middle child in my mom's house.
Oh, okay.
My sister's older. Quasia, she's older than me. Calvin's younger.
So you grew up in a kind of the middle of nowhere, Polk County,
Yeah.
country area.
Yeah, the woods around us, and yeah, I mean, we didn't spend much time in Lake Wales, to be honest with you. Like we lived in Lake Wales the whole time. When I had my brothers, I mean, when everybody was in the house, we did stay in Lake Wales a lot. But once they left, we spent most of our time in Frostproof. I mean, we just basically slept in Lake Wales.
So how was that? I know there's a lot of kids that grew up without their two parents in the household. How was that for you? Was there like difficulties in that, or was it? I mean, I knew you were young when your dad passed away.
Yeah.
So is that something you noticed?
I mean, it's a story to that. Like when my dad died, I was the only kid that was awake. We were supposed to be asleep. It was probably one in the morning, and I heard a loud thud, and I got up. My mom was going crazy, like so then I kind of ran back to my bed and put my head under the covers, cause I didn't know what was going on, and then next thing you know, I see my mom go to the door and open the door, and then the ambulance lights shining through the house. So I got back up and I looked in there. My dad was laying on the floor, and they came in there. They picked him up, put him on the thing, on the gurney, and rolled him out. My mom was like going crazy, just hysterical behind him. And I mean, at the time, Quincy and Calvin was still asleep. I'm the only one up. So and she seen me up, and she was like, "Don't worry, he coming back. He'll be back." And I'm just like a deer in headlights, like what the hell, what's going on? And so then he never came back. So I had terrible nervous breakdowns from age 6 to like 21.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it was more spaced out as I got older. I still have them now, but I deal with it different. Now it's kind of like just a mental thing. But back then it was mental, it was emotional, it was physical, like, so but definitely through all the elementary after 6, it was every other night. I was hysterical every other night. Or I just think about it and then it'll just get me, or I'll be asleep and dream that my dad's still alive, and then wake up and he's not. And most of the things that fueled that thought process was how family would, they tell you the man of the house now, your dad's gone to a better place, and I'm just thinking like, what better place is than right here with me, like.
Yeah, and a lot of times I think we don't really realize what that means, like man in the house. It's just like something you hear, but I guess you kind of have to learn. You learn by seeing the man in the house, what he does, and you kind of learn what that role means.
Yeah.
But a lot of us that didn't have that example, we never really, truly understand what that means.
Yeah, they made it hard on me. They tried to make it easy, and I don't fault them for it, but they made it hard on me because I didn't see no logical excuse why I shouldn't have a dad. You know what I'm saying? Like they hit you with all this righteous stuff, like I said, he in a better place, or like just trying to be optimistic. But I'm looking at it like, man, like I'm playing sports. I'm looking at other kids' dad right there with them, like.
Yeah, I'm sure that must have been like a big, adjustment. You have like, what's it like when your parents come to? Is it career day? Not career day. Your parents come.
Any day.
Yeah, your parents come and tell you what they do for a living,
mm-hmm.
and we were like Father Son Day. I know that like that now they have like a Father Son Donut Day or something like that.
Yeah. See, I played baseball, football, basketball. Really didn't like basketball, but I played all that, and it's just constantly playing sports. You see a lot of dads, because.
Man, how tall are you? You're huge. How tall?
Yeah. 6'5", 320.
Oh, okay. So you kind of gravitated to football then?
Yeah. Well, baseball was my favorite. Was my favorite sport. But I'm from a little town called Frostproof, and they'll burn that right out of you.
And I remember that's when you played football. It must have been maybe my junior year of high school. And I remember doing one practice, and you probably don't even remember this. So the coach came and got me off the baseball field to play football. So I had never played football before in my life, never, put on any pads. I didn't know anything.
Right.
One of the first practices we had, I was on the practice team, or whatever they call it when you really don't get in the game and they just basically a test dummy.
Practice. Yeah.
So they had me at running back, and I must have been like 150 pounds at that time. Man, you hit me so hard.
I don't remember that.
And I'll be honest, I had to go to the doctor. You hit my leg, and it kind of went to the left. My leg swelled up like a grapefruit. So
wow.
that was one of my first experiences. Then I really started taking it serious after I recovered from that injury.
Yeah.
I started taking football a little bit more serious, even though I didn't keep playing it. But I just remember then you were massive, and I know, like a lot of people would say, you had a lot of athletic, talent.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to hear a little bit more about how high school was. Like, did you have a lot of like scouts coming into the games, or?
Well, like I said, I'm from a little town called Frostproof. Pretty racist. It was super racist. I mean, I'm not even gonna spare those people. I mean, Miss Bush, all them people, they
yeah, I know.
That was a racist, small-minded town. So, and we didn't have a lot of exposure, so things didn't really get going until I got late in high school. I was really goofy at first. Like as a kid, my body was growing so fast, I couldn't keep up with it. Like I couldn't get used to it, so I just stayed goofy for most of the time, and then I kind of turned it on. I don't know what grade we was in, but I know it was the last year of Little League over there across. I was on Gravely's team.
Oh, okay. I think you're.
Me and Cece was on.
Your freshman year of high school. That's when I remember like you had a big growth spurt and you came back, 6'3", 6'4", and I was like, who is that kid? Well, that's Jerrel. There's no way that's Jerrel. He was just 5'8".
Right.
So
that's what the baseball coach said. I made the baseball team first. I was the first. Me and my cousin Cece was the first kids to make JV at in the 6th grade. But like my coach even noticed that I grew like 6 inches since the last time he seen me, and it was hard to adjust. I guess like 8th grade was, I had a baseball game. My granddad came to it, and I thought I did good, but he told me I ran like an old man. He told me I was slow. Like I thought he was gonna say something good. I was stealing bases. I hit 1 home run. So once he said that, like I didn't take it the wrong way. I mean, it hurt. Yeah. I didn't expect that. He just told me I ran like an old man and everything, and I'm like, so after that I turned it up. Like I felt like next time I get a chance to run, I'm running. I'm going all. I'm lifting my knees all the way. So after that, like 9th grade, 10th grade, it started turning up. By the time I got to 11, that's when I started getting all kind of scouts. All kind of scouts coming. Then 12th grade, I mean.
For football or?
Football. It was only football. I played basketball just because I was athletic enough to play, but I really didn't care for it. I loved baseball, but frostproof racism wouldn't let me play that. So, so I turned it up. I couldn't even stay in class. Like, I'd be getting pulled out of class like every other day.
Oh, really?
Every few days for different schools, Ole Miss, all D1, all D1.
So your senior year, how did that play out for you? What were you looking to do as far as school?
Well, I was taking my senior year pretty serious. I had a coach in Frostproof named Coach Maddox. He was also racist. I had to make a choice to change schools or have him kick me off the team for some petty reason, and ruin my whole senior year. So I packed up and went to Lake Wells, and I did my senior year at Lake Wells High School.
Oh, okay. So did you end up going to college anywhere because of that late transition or no?
Yeah, I did. Like I said, I was heavily recruited, and a person by the name of Bernie Hayes was my mentor, and he he was in communications with University of Miami, and they was trying to get me, but my grades was bad, you know. I was pretty much committed to them, but was waiting on my transcripts to finalize. And once they finalized, I was ineligible, and I think they wanted me to go to prep school, but I didn't even give it a chance. I mean, as soon as I found out I couldn't go there, I signed with University of Akron.
And I know you said your grades were bad, and I know that's not because you couldn't do the work. Because I remember you used to be an alpha or something, right?
Right. Yeah,
so what was the reason you think why your grades were bad? Were you just not taking school seriously, or was there something like?
If I'm being honest with you, it started when my dad died. Like I know I was the smartest kid in every class that I was in. When my dad died at 6, I started getting in more trouble. I was quick tempered.
Yeah, I kind of vaguely remember that.
Right, and like I guess I was smart, but I started like losing focus on school. Like it wasn't as important. It became not as important. And I really don't know what was important at that point, you know.
So at that time, did you have anyone that was like a father figure to you, or that was mentoring you?
I had my mom, who was trying to be both parents, but that's impossible. Yeah, I had like I said, Bernie Hayes. I had uncles and older cousins. You know, they did a good job, but they didn't live with me, so they couldn't make that big of an impression.
What about? I know you said your oldest or eldest brother passed away, but what about your other brother? Was he at all mentoring you, or?
Well, neither. Both of my older brothers, I would say, took after their mom's side. Cause my dad was a pretty laid back, humble guy, you know, a good guy. He had a wild one on his hands with their mom, so they kind of took after him. My oldest brother was not. I mean, he was not really. He was more for the streets than for us.
When your older brother plays professional sports, right?
Right, and that's Amar'e, and he pretty much took on the same. Like he got some goodness in his heart, but they were heavily influenced by their mom, who I guess she kind of just brainwashed them. You know, like we have memories of her throwing them out of the car and throwing some trash bag in the yard and telling my mom and my dad, y'all better get these MFers before I call HRS. You know,
oh, wow.
On her kids.
Wow.
So that's the type of image that I have towards that situation. So they were never really good mentors.
So did he like reach out to you at all as far as like helping you with the college step? 'Cause I know that can be big, especially being from a small town.
Right.
If you're the only one that has scouts coming to the games and you
right.
calling you, sending you letters. So did he at all like help you navigate through that process?
No, not at all, man. Not at all. I didn't get any type of support on that. And my name was in the newspaper. A lot of times I get newspaper articles that would say Amar'e Stoudemire's little brother and didn't even say my name. You know, like
yeah.
NBA All-Star Amar'e Stoudemire's younger brother records 11 tackles and 2 sacks. But, so like I really was hoping that he would put some recognition out there, just out of the goodness of his heart.
Yeah, kind of help you, through that process. I know a lot of other athletes, if they have kids or, their fathers were professional athletes, they kind of, guide them through that process and, open up some doors, make some phone calls for them.
Right, and I felt like he could have had whatever school I was at, he could have been lit, like we could have had scouts galore if he did it the right way. Cause I'm doing my thing, I'm balling, and I'm big, I'm smart. I scored in the 90th percentile on my SAT in the state of Florida.
Oh man, yeah. So you were smart. You were just lazy in school, or you know.
It's just that I learned so quick. I didn't want to, like, once you teach me this, I get it. Yeah. Now I don't want to hear about it no more. I don't want to write 100 papers on it. Yeah. I get what you're saying. I know exactly how to do it. So I think gifted classes might have messed me up with regular classes, because regular classes are so slow and so, like, it's just like subtle. It's subtle learning. Like it's real intense and it's real critical. In the gifted classes, like you go into deep thought, deep critical thinking, and so once I couldn't do that no more, I was pretty much bored. Like, and then I was super bad. I still am super bad ADHD. So I can have every intention on doing my homework when they give it to me, but by the time that bell ring, homework is not on my mind until I'm on my way to school the next day. You know,
so I guess because of that lack of maybe male guidance, or you kind of struggle academically, but still performed athletically.
Right, and I survived academically only because I was naturally smart. I never failed. I don't think I ever made less. I think I made an A on every test I ever took. If I'm being honest with you.
Just didn't do the homework.
Didn't do the homework. Projects late, 2 days late, makeup work. So that was my thing. Quizzes and tests, I'm passing them. I never studied in my damn life.
That's big though. I mean, I couldn't imagine having a sibling that plays a professional sport. And even if you weren't, the athlete that you were, even being a part of that, process, for them, how was that for you, like going along with him as he was getting drafted? And I think that was around the early 2000s that he got drafted.
So when he got drafted, man, we had no relationship. Like we had this illusion of a relationship, like when we see each other, it's like brother and bro and all this. But when he made it to the league, man, me and my family, we were still poor. We were still eating ramen noodles. We still my mom still borrowing Peter to pay Paul. So he didn't. I mean, it was really no love at all. Coach Bernie Hayes was one of his mentors, and he's the person that pretty much brought us along. Like, he kept us relevant with Amar'e. Like, as far as they got a camp, you need to bring your little brothers. Like stuff like that. That was Coach. If it weren't for people like him and a guy by the name of Michael Walker, like if it weren't for those people, we never would have even connected. So we used to hear that he was in town from somebody else. We never heard it from him.
Was it like a big family blowout or something? What was the disconnect between your brother and your other siblings?
Like I said, I think it was just.
I know on draft day, normally they either go there and.
Well, he was there with his mom and her son, his other brother from his mom.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, they was on TV. They had the Amar'e Stoudemire thing going on, the little special talking about his house. And even when they showed the special, that was like the first time I was just heartbroken. Like, it was crazy because I watched that, like, all about him and how he came up and how he got to the NBA, and man, not a word of me or Calvin, like not a word. And even his mom was claiming the Stoudemire and saying my husband this, my husband that, but my dad left her a long time ago. So I was offended by that, because the stuff that they portrayed on that special it wasn't true. It's a lot of missing pieces to that puzzle.
Yeah, I'm sure as a kid that kind of affects the way you see or the way you saw him and then the way you would like maybe see your other family members. 'Cause I know like if you guys didn't grow up together, did you grow up together or in the same house with Amar'e?
Until I was 6. He was 12 until he was 12 and I was 6. So about 4 years I would say. We lived together for that amount of childhood from the time I was 2 or maybe 1. By the time I was 1 to 6, we lived together. Cause I think I was 1 or 2 when his mom dropped him off at the house with a trash bag with like 3 pair of drawers and 2 shirts.
Yeah, I don't know how I would feel about that. I mean, I would probably feel some type of way, but I can't.
Well, I was young at the time, but it's just a lot of hindsight stuff with this. Like looking back on it, it was just no real love. No, it was their mom messed them up, and I got sympathy for them. You know, like they had a bad childhood. You know, my oldest brother had my dad who was caught up with his mom, and he was really out there. My dad was out there. By the time he had me, he had joined the church, turned his life over. You know, like that was me. That was my me. Like I think I was the only kid that was actually playing. Like my mom told me. Like I was the only kid that was on purpose. Cause he had changed his life over, he was ready to live right, and then boom, like and then so it just made it even more worse that he died on me. You know what I'm saying? But the family, they was never really connected to. They was more connected to their mom's family than my mom's family, because that's not their mom. And then as far as the Stoudemires, their mom pretty much brainwashed them to kind of be more against the Stoudemires and more for her side. You know, and so it was no like. What made it bad was me, 9th grade, he made it to the NBA, and I'm at a basketball game, and the whole JV squad wanted me to sign autographs.
Oh, really?
And
want you to sign autographs?
Wanted me to sign autographs. And I'm like, I'm looking at him like, what the hell? And I got my teammate, Cedric Cox. My own boy, he was like, man, you might as well go ahead and do it. So I was like, okay, I signed. So I'm signing. I'm just looking at it like I'm signing autographs, but we ain't even got no electricity at the house. Like when I signed the autographs, our electricity was off at the house.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's a lot of dysfunction with that. So it never was really family. It was more so my dad keeping us together.
So your dad was kind of like the connection and keeping both sides.
It's his kids, you know. Yeah. So he made sure his kids was together and got along. I remember, he made sure the loyalty amongst us was there. But when he died, that left.
So fast forwarding some, what was that next step, or what was the events after graduating high school? Like, did you actually go to college, or did you just start working?
I went to college. I went to University of Akron, and don't get me wrong, man. Amar'e did help out with things. You know, he helped me out with college when I went to University of Akron. Because I was ineligible, I couldn't get a full scholarship. It was like partial or something. So he definitely dropped some cash, which, at the time, he had just signed a $72 million contract. 10,000 ain't gonna hurt. So I ain't gonna act like he broke the bank, but, he showed a little support. It's just, I can see the love and support in him, but it wasn't sustained.
Yeah, I can see it just from the outside looking in. I can see it from both angles. It's not necessarily his responsibility, nor is like he didn't have to, but it's definitely a nice gesture.
Right.
And
and I appreciate it.
That's one way to look at it. But if that's my brother, somebody that made it, I'll be like, man, look, man, I need some help, bro.
Yeah. And it was hard.
Send some money.
So before I went so what made college real hectic? Mind you, I'm ADHD. I can't focus for shit. Like I'm all over the place. But before I went to college, through Bernie Hayes and Michael Walker, me and Calvin was able to go to Phoenix. We went to Phoenix when we were 16 the first time, and that was Coach Hayes. He just kept bugging Mari and bugging him until he got us out there. And to be honest with you, the first time he told us, yeah, we was all excited. You know, like we loved our brother. Like we always, that was a piece of us that was never able to, like we had that deep in our hearts. Me, Calvin, for my dad and my siblings from my dad. So we got ready. We was excited to go, and their mom ended up calling Coach Hayes and talked to us and told us this time ain't gonna be a good time to come. We're gonna have to arrange for y'all to come another time. Come to find out, she just made that up. Like, come to find out, she just did that all on her own. Like, so I didn't know that. I found it out years later. But at the time, we was heartbroken. We was like, man, like not only is he coming into town and not even, we don't even see him. Like most of the time we didn't see him. Half the time we did see him is because somebody would show up at our house and say, hey, I just seen y'all brother down there at so-and-so. And then somebody would end up taking us out there. And I remember the one time we did see him, we actually got a chance to, it's weird to say we got a chance to sit and talk with him, you know, like, cause it wasn't like that before my dad died. But we did that, and we were so small-minded, all me and Calvin asked for was wristbands and headbands. And you know what I'm saying? Cause at the time,
that was always popular.
This 2001. So this is when Nelly,
Allen Iverson and Nelly.
Yeah. Nelly, the jerseys and all that, and the headbands, and wristbands. So like that's what we was asking for. We ain't asked for nothing but wristbands and headbands and cleats.
Wow.
And he told us he was gonna go take us shopping, and boy, that day never came. You know what I'm saying? But that's it, man. Like it was just. I got to college. I was not ready for that. I went to Phoenix and lived a life that that most people would, you know, couldn't even imagine. Like I went from high school to just like a celebrity lifestyle. It was wild, and that's what I did before I went to college. So my mind was screwed. My mind was screwed up, man. Like I was thinking wrong. I wasn't thinking about school. I wasn't thinking about hard work.
But I guess you weren't thinking about that next step in life. I mean, outside of your family, like what Jerrel wanted to do for himself.
Well, I imagined it, but for some reason, I guess through that lifestyle, I just imagined it just coming.
Yeah,
like I didn't have to do nothing to get it. You know, just like when I showed up in Phoenix, and we do things, we go to clubs. I get attention from the best, the best looking women in the club. Like that was just a given. So when I got to college, it just felt the same way. Like I'm gonna go to the NFL. I'm gonna be successful, but I ain't gotta do nothing to do. I guess that's what I was thinking. Like,
and that makes sense. A lot of kids in our generation kind of just thought that. It was high school, and you might go to college unless you can play a sport.
Mm-hmm.
You play a sport, and okay, you're gonna make it. No one ever I feel like no one took the time to say, hey, like if you don't make it, you'd have a backup plan, and school is that plan, or at least what other career paths you want to go into, or what trade you want to learn.
Well, I had to be a tough kid to even mentor, because I guess with my focus problems. In my intelligence level at the same time, that made it tough, because you could tell a kid like, hey, you can be so much more than this and more than that, but like I'm not. My grades is terrible. I got like 19 Fs and stuff like that. Like, but at the same time, I'm like the smartest kid in the class. So it's like that's actually what made me lose the best scholarship offer I ever got, which was from University of Florida.
Oh wow, you had a chance to go to Florida?
Man, my dream school, man. They offered me in Lake Wales, and I was like, man, I'm so ready to go. Like I'm ready. Like I felt like I already made it. I wasn't even like
But Floyd, you definitely, the grades come.
They sent the transcripts.
Yeah, the grades.
When them
come
transcripts
along with
sent,
it.
that coach called me and told me either I'm never in school, which my attendance doesn't show that, or I'm the laziest kid he ever met.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I remember one time, I think we were working out before or after practice of football. You did like the heaviest deadlift I've ever seen. You did 1 rep and walked out of the gym. You had so much potential and talent. Everyone just thought you were like, definitely going to make it. But of course, at that age, we weren't thinking about, hey, the grades come along, with this, and there's a lot of other stuff.
And the work ethic.
Yeah, the work ethic. There's a lot of other stuff. Work ethic is a big thing. A lot of kids just think that, hey, if I can play, game day, I'll be good. But there's a lot of other things that lead up to that, moment.
Yeah.
So after you went to college, did you graduate or?
Oh hell no. Man, I flunked out. To say it in the most blatant way possible. But I really got to Akron and felt like I was better than that as an athlete. Not even, and just that was a dumb thought because I wasn't doing nothing that a college athlete was supposed to do. I wasn't working out. I wasn't going to class. I'm just good at sports. I'm just good at football, and I'm thinking that I'm too good for this. I don't like how small this school is. I don't like how small the crowd is. So I decided to go junior college. But I guess the laziest way you can do that is say, I'm going to junior college, so I ain't got to do no more work here.
Yeah, that's
so,
a lot of people doing
so
that.
I did that, and it was pretty much downhill. I finally got onto a junior college and was like the best defensive lineman in the country. I mean, in the conference.
So was there anybody like guiding you through this, or like you were just talking to your mom or asking her advice? And because college can be a big thing for most kids,
Right.
that don't come from a college family. It's no one to help you even sign you up with classes or help you with a work study if that's what you need. Did your brother? And I know he went to college also, right?
No.
Amar'e?
No. He didn't have to go to college. Thank God.
I know. Like I think just recently he got his MBA, so maybe he went back to school. But I know I saw something about.
Well, you know how that is now. I mean, when the rich guys get those degrees now, like they have pretty reliable tutors. They get it. It's almost a given at that point. But no, he didn't go to college. He didn't support. He wasn't a academic guy. He really had problems learning because he was switching schools so much because of the type of parenting he was under.
So would you say like because of his success, he was someone that you were looking to for mentorship or guidance, or did you have other successful men and women in your family that could kind of guide you through the next steps in life?
No, I didn't even think about it like that. At the time, I just thought about it like maybe like at least because the mentor, like as far as mentoring, I didn't know what that really meant at the time, but I felt like he could just show me something, like just I felt like being around him gave me confidence.
Yeah,
that could have went farther,
Yeah, and I get that, man. Especially coming from a small place like Polk County, there's not a lot of people that make it out and are successful. Most people that we knew in our childhood are still there.
Yeah.
Still kind of doing the same thing. So I understand the thought process of wanting to gravitate to someone that's doing something outside of the normal.
Right. And I had of course I had the pretty, the crazy expectations, like I'm thinking just TV.
Man, just reach out to him, like, hey bro, man, I need some help, man. I'm trying to go back to school or something. It's always worth it to, humble yourself and try to, especially with, family, man, like at least, reach out and say, hey, I would like to work to mend that relationship. And even outside of success or what he has, like that's your brother. So I would say, I mean, when's the last time you guys talked?
About a couple weeks ago. I've tried that. That's a whole nother situation. It's just total disconnection. I mean, just to give him a little sympathy, I guess. He was rich since he was 17. So there's a lot of disconnection with the reality of life, compared to his life. And
I can imagine if you come from a small place, he probably had a lot of people asking him for money and hey, I need help with this, and you kind of get drained out. Yeah, you kind of get drained with people only reaching out to you just to ask for something. It's never how are you doing, but hey, I need some help with this, or So I'm sure if he did maybe distance himself from family, maybe that was one of the reasons why.
Oh, for sure was the reason why.
And I kind of like the approach. I watched a video a while ago. Rick Ross was saying how he bought his family some Wingstops, and I was like, "Hey, this is your baby. Take care of it, and help it grow." So that way, they didn't have to keep coming back to him asking him for
That's what I'm saying.
money. So I mean, even for yourself, if you come up with a plan and have something that you're passionate about, maybe he'll see what you're trying to do and offer some assistance if you need it.
That sounds good, but he don't have that love to be able to do stuff like that. Like, you can't just do that for people without love. Without love is more so just here you go, get out of my face. Throw you some money. That's easy for rich people. Just throw you some money and go that way. But to actually put some thought and effort into it, as far as what my future is bringing, that no matter what plan it was, I mean, I was good at sports. My little brother's good at sports. We've always had potential to be able to invest in us. But it's never been there.
So how is your relationship with your other siblings right now? I know you mentioned Calvin, and you have some other sisters.
Right. My oldest sister, we've never been close. She was just so much older than us when we found out that she was our sister. I mean, we cool. I mean, I love her. I know her, and I even named my daughter's middle name is her daughter's name, Desiree.
Okay.
So I love her. You know what I'm saying? But we not that close. My little brother Calvin, we the closest. But even with the distance and life being what it is, things get a little distant sometimes. But me and him are close. I'm not close with any other siblings like that. I'm close with Amar'e, but that's more of an illusion than reality. Because when you're close, certain things just don't happen. Cat, my little brother has 3 degrees.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he had. He's better. He's a better citizen than me. He did what was right. So for the people that felt like maybe I didn't get supported because I was kind of wild, or I did crazy things sometimes, or immature things, there was no excuse with Calvin. Calvin was going to school. He did his work, got his degrees, pushing. He's trying to push a suit line, right? I mean, it's still in the works.
So he's into fashion?
Yes, he's into fashion. He's trying to get that suit line off, and
that's big.
Yeah, that is big, and he was just trying to even get in the door as far as Amar'e introducing him to a few ex-teammates or whatever in the basketball world. you know, to wear a suit and get it going. And he had a fashion opportunity, and it goes to show you how backwards it is and how unsupported we really are. He had an opportunity. He was a finalist to get the fashion contract or whatever, and it was down to 3 people, and he was one of the finalists. They found out who his brother was in the middle of the thing. He didn't tell them. They found out. So then he accepted it, you know. So he talking, you know, he like, yeah, that's my brother, and so they're fans and they're talking and they're happy about it. And every time they came in to do to do more interviews, they would still bring up Amar'e and so he felt like he was winning. You know, he felt like he had it. And when the day came to decide who was gonna win, they called him in and told him that he was they wanted to give the job to somebody less fortunate.
Wow.
Meanwhile,
that's fortunate.
Meanwhile, Calvin was sleeping on a friend's couch at the time, and borrowed $5 to get there.
Wow.
Had to borrow $5 just to get there.
I would have said, no, man, me and him, that's my brother, but
you see, he didn't say that because at first they're like, oh, you're a mark. So they happy about that. So he thinking that that's his selling point, you know, like to get in the door. Like, yep. He just agreeing and just yesing with everything. And so they felt like he was fortunate.
Yeah, I guess that's a hard, I can imagine being in that situation. It's like, do I kind of use that last name as a key, or
right.
do I say, oh, that's not, I'm a different side of it. I don't.
Man, it's a gift and a curse. I mean, it's more so a curse than a gift, because you would think it's a gift, but you tell somebody who your brother is, and it just changes the whole aspect of who you are.
So have you ever been in situations like that and had like, you know, buying a house or something, or buying a car, and someone's like, hey, yeah, this car is, they're selling it for $3,000, and then you go to buy it and like, no, this car is $10,000.
No, because I've never been able to buy a car. You know what I'm saying? But I experienced that with jail. You know, like getting locked up. Getting locked up for like petty reasons, and my bond being $100,000.
Wow, can you kind of go into that a little bit?
So like my first situation with my kid's mom, it was super immature. We just yelling at each other, and I might have said something, and she took my clothes and threw them out the window. Second floor of the apartment. So they landed in the parking lot. So I take her clothes and throw them out. You know, and so we still arguing, and I go outside and we're just yelling all the way down to the spot where the clothes were. By the time we make it there, the police pull up.
Somebody had called the police.
Right? So they was like, what's going on? I was like, man, she threw my clothes out, I threw hers out. You know, I feel like I ain't did nothing wrong yet. Or at least we both did something wrong if anything. So they tell me to pick up all the clothes. They tell me to pick up my clothes and hers.
And you was like, no, I ain't picking up her clothes.
You know it. I was like, no, I ain't picking up that. No. I just said no. I'm so young, I'm 18, thinking I know everything. I'm like, no, I ain't picking nothing up. Man, I go to pick her clothes up, and I guess I got, my pride was in the way. So every time I picked up an article of clothes, I would stepped on one. Like I step on it and scrub it in the oil and on the cement. And I guess they let me get like 3-4 articles of clothing doing that, and they hauled me off jail.
So how'd you pay the bond? I
thought I was gonna get out. You know, I thought I was getting right out. But they hit me with that bond. It was $100,000. I had to pay $10,000 to get out. So I'm thinking, I didn't really do nothing. I know my brother finna get me out of here. because I'm being mistreated.
Or Amar'e?
Amar'e. I just knew Amar'e was gonna get me out, but you know, because they mistreated me, they overcharged me. You know, they gave me extra charges that didn't even, like, it was really an immature situation. You know, it was like kids. You know, and then they gave me this crazy bond.
So I can imagine that situation. So did you have to call him collect, or did someone else call him, or?
Yeah, I tried to call him. That didn't go through. You wouldn't never. I mean, even if I was out, I wasn't gonna get him on the phone like that. So I called one of the people in the entourage, and they got the word to him. They got the word to him like the same day.
So you don't have his direct number, or?
I had it, but he don't answer the phone.
Oh, yeah.
Them people don't answer the phone. So yeah, they called him to let him know, and you know, just like a brother, just like a person who lacked love, the first thing he said was, well, what did he do? Like, you know, and his friends was like, bro, your brother locked up. What you mean? What he did? Get him out. You know, like, he was like, what he do? Like, so these people, like, he trying to make sure that I didn't do nothing real. I guess if I did something bad in his eyes, he'd keep me in there. But that's ended up what happened anyway. He didn't get me out.
Oh, wow.
I stayed in there for the whole 2 weeks. You know, like, and that was a crazy experience in Maricopa County with Judge Arpaio, who used to make the inmates wear pink. You know, that got big for a while back. I was in that jail. And yeah, I was going through all that, man. Like, somebody got stabbed first day I got in there. You know, like, and I'm like, man, this dude really ain't gonna save me, huh? He really gonna just let this happen. But come to find out, that's how it's gonna be forever, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's like a tough situation. You know, having a lot of times siblings and cousins are our first, you know, friends in life. So I can imagine that's a hard situation to, you know, navigate through, especially, you know, coming from where you're from and seeing like, okay, you know, my brother made it out or my, you know, sister made it out, and you look for that person for maybe leadership because, you know, you kind of lacked in that area. So I can understand that, but you also have to look at it from the other side as far as like maybe he didn't have anyone
right,
that was a mentor to
for
him,
sure,
you know.
For sure. He didn't. We spoke about that. You know, he realizes that it's so many things he could have done that he didn't, didn't know nothing about. I think one time he actually said something like, I don't understand why my financial advisors never said nothing like that. They just let me. So he was overly extending himself to too many people in the wrong way. You know, like, he's giving monthly checks to almost everybody in the whole family.
And I'm sure that can be, even if you're, you know, multi-millionaire, man, you see that money going in like,
yes,
it's like you kind of always want some return on your money. And a lot of times if you're in that situation, you know, financially, people will use you and constantly use you as a crutch. So
right,
I'm sure him not having guidance will be, you know, hard to.
It's almost like, you know, if you're him, you do it to yourself at that point. Because if you show minimal love, then I feel like that's a setup. Because if he would have just, instead of giving everybody all this money, if he would have just appointed certain leaders in the family to you know, to be like a owner of something, you know, of a business, to get to that point to where you like, you know, big investment, but everybody can eat from that. You know, like.
And that's also another issue. I mean, that's hard to do. That's a lot of responsibility in the person that he's giving, you know, the money to, especially if they don't have the knowledge, you know.
At 18 years old.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would always say you have to take just accountability for every situation you're in, and it's always good to have a helping hand, but you know, you have to remember that no one, you know, owes you, you know, anything.
No, you're right.
So even though that's your brother, or your sister or your mom, they don't like owe you the extra helping hand.
Right.
And so sometimes you have to learn those, hard lessons. I'm sure, in jail. That was your only time you went to jail, or?
No, I went to jail quite a bit.
Yeah, so I guess maybe would you say that's from that lack of mentorship when you were younger and guidance? Maybe you were acting out in some type of way.
I think by the time when I started getting in trouble, it always had to do with my baby mamas. It always was the bickering and the feuding with other women and all that extra stuff. I think it had a lot to do with my dad dying, because the thought of, like, once I started having kids, the thought of separating from one, the thought of this woman playing games as far as, like, the how they do this with the kids. They give it and they take it away. They give it, they take away at their own. That wasn't working for me, because I'm like, it was deep in me. Like, I grew up my whole life without a dad, pretty much. So it's no way I'm gonna die before I let my kids grow up like that. You know what I'm saying? So that was my fight, and that was bad.
How many kids do you have?
6.
Oh, okay, all with the same woman, or
Nah.
Six different women.
And I got a couple possibilities out there.
Oh, okay.
A couple possibilities. Yeah, it's 3 baby mamas so far.
And it's hard to navigate, man. That's
yeah.
hard to, unless you somebody like a Nick Cannon or something, and you.
Yeah. Well, my first kid was pretty much. That was like had a lot to do with Amar'e. Like, I got a girl pregnant, and her family knew who I was, and they really wanted to abort. They wanted her to get an abortion. They did not want her to have a baby yet, but they found out it was for me. So they pretty much like, yeah, we're gonna keep this, but they didn't know that I'm unsupported. Like, it's not what you think it is. Like,
they thought it was a check, and it's
they paid for me to they actually paid for me to take some classes in college. Like, we was going to college together. They paid for that, and man, they thought it was gonna be some type of return. When they found out it was, they took my son and booted me away.
Wow.
Yeah, I lost that kid. I mean, I'm in communication with him and his mom these days.
Yeah, I would say, make the biggest effort you can.
Oh, I am.
Yeah, even for the small things. Because you can see, like, for yourself, how much that affected your childhood, and even, as an adult, how much that still, affects you not having that guidance in your life. So, I would definitely say, reach out as much as you can.
Oh yeah. I'm definitely talking to his mom. I'm trying to get him. Trying to build that relationship with him. It's a little awkward. He's getting older. He's 13 now. So it's getting late, but I definitely put in that effort. But it's been a bit of a rough life.
So, man, I'm definitely inspired, by you, and I'll tell you that later on. And even while I went through this interview, you might not even know why I'm, inspired by you. But I definitely appreciate you coming out and giving me a chance and telling part of your story with me, and I definitely look forward to the next conversation. I know we have a lot more to cover.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, man. Again, definitely be encouraged to take accountability and keep striving. Just even if things are getting tough, keep striving to be the best version of you, and just doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
And it's never too late to start doing the work.
Yeah. We'll have another chance to talk. There's more to it.